Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about Temtem's upcoming islands, both with the Kisiwa update and beyond. Now, I'm sure a lot of people know which types are going to be associated with each of the islands, but there is a lot more information than just that. Through this video, we're going to explore the general geography and lore of each island, as well as some noteworthy locations, and then we're going to do a little bit of speculation on what exactly some of the locations could have in store for us from both a gameplay and lore perspective. So with that being said, the first island on this list is, of course, Kisiwa. Now, Kisiwa is home to many Earth and neutral type Temtem. It has a very interesting concept with a variety of areas to explore, from an underground cave network to a desert biome. In Temtem Kickstarter update number 15, we're given deeper insight into Kisiwa's layout. Kisiwa is the hilly cousin of Tukma, its main feature being the impassable Kilma Range that divides the island in two distinct halves. Hotter and drier than any other island, Kisiwa features an unrivaled variety of landscapes. The eastern side is Vumbi and the famous Jojo, as well as the wild Kusini highlands beyond the Gino Gap, inhabited by a variety of neutral Temtem. The only viable way to cross the island are the tunnels excavated by tireless Kisiwans. Chini in the wild southern solitudes and Ju in the north near Lake Moyo and the capital city of Yurhuru. The western deserts are deceptive in appearance, for they are home to many species of earth Temtem. Once warlike and divided, the tribes of Kisiwa have long united under an informal but highly effective federation. The slow and dangerous rock-hopping route to Tukma has been replaced with an efficient airship service that transports people, goods, and Temtem to and from the busy terminal at Yurhuru. The Kisiwans, closely related to the Tukmani, are skilled Temtem breeders and trainers. They are very hospitable and honorable hosts, and they value freedom and friendship above all. An interesting side note regarding Kisiwa and Tukma's relationship is that Kisiwa and Tukma actually used to be connected before the Anak volcano cataclysm, which separated the two, hence why the two are close enough to rock hop to each other. This previous connection between the islands is said to be the origin of Bun Bun and Mudred being earth and crystal hybrids. There are definitely a few areas of note. I'm most interested in the tunnel network, but other than that, we do see Vumbi, which is going to hold Kisiwa's dojo. That dojo specifically and most likely will feature earth and neutral types to go along with the theme of the island. We've seen this with every other dojo this far, so I don't see that changing. I'm definitely hoping we learn a lot more about the lore, as I'd really like to learn about the history of the rivalry between the east and west sides. And I'm also curious if the large divide between the two tribes still lingers to this day despite a relative state of peace. Perhaps we could see a side quest focused on some sort of lingering disdain where you have to sort of mediate between two small factions of the groups. Most interestingly, however, is the mainline story reasons as to why we're going to Kisiwa in the first place. Don't forget, we were on our way there before Lottie took down her ship. Apparently there's some strange activity going on there and we're supposed to do something about that. Also of note is that each island has introduced us in some way to a new Belsodo member. Denny's introduced us to Lottie, Amnesia to Dr. Hamajo, and though technically this wasn't the first time we've seen this person, Tukma introduced us to the fact that Max is also working for Belsodo. Perhaps Kisiwa will finally introduce General X. The animated trailer shows his Temtem, and that looks like either a Zizar or a Zizar Evolution, so it could fit nicely from a development perspective. Zizar's already coming, he has Zizar. There you go. There's also a lake on Kisiwa, which is interesting too. Maybe we will see a new water type or two, though I doubt we'd see many considering the abundance of them thanks to Denny's. Cipanku, aka the fifth island, which is slated for fall, is really interesting. It focuses on electric and digital types, which digital alone would make it noteworthy, but even more so that it's a sort of a mesh between new and old. You have Nanto Labs, essentially the bedrock of Temtem's technological revolution and the origin of the digital type. Then you have the monks that live in the remote hills aside their electric type Temtem. The same Kickstarter update has this to say about Cipanku. No place has grown faster than Cipanku in the last few years. Changes have been more sudden and spectacular here than elsewhere. Once a very traditional culture with a tendency for quiet perfectionism and spiritual contemplation, the Cipanku have adopted to the times, and in fact have brought about many of those changes themselves. While northern Cipanku still holds its allure as a land of hilltop temples and tranquil rice fields, Nanto has turned into a bargaining metropolis driven by the innovations of their labs. While Cipanku was once more associated with the electric Temtem venerated by the monks, nowadays its renown comes from the invention of the digital type. These new creatures are making the impossible seem feasible and have sparked a wave of inventions that might revolutionize not just Temtem fighting, but also make airships obsolete. The archipelago is at the threshold of a new era, and the innovative Cipanku are at the heart of it. This description goes really well with the origin of the digital type video that I just uploaded last week, so I highly recommend you check that out, as it does give us better context as to what Nanto Labs is doing and how the entire archipelago changed through Nanto's discoveries. But other than that, the island is heavily inspired by Japan, and what makes me really interested specifically is to learn more about the history of the archipelago, and more specifically how this bustling metropolis that was once a very ritualistic and traditional society dealt with the sudden changes. I could see some traditionalists being apprehensive to such a fast-moving technological advancement. The digital origin description stated that the success of the research of Tuwai crystals essentially had them gain a century of advancement in a short amount of time. We also know that some familiar faces such as Konstantinos, Tihani, and Hajimo were all working on the digital type, so I'm really curious to see if Nanto Labs will give us some insight onto that as well. Although the one thing that I am most intrigued by is the potential of a Tawai evolution that may be associated with this island. I've previously theorized that Tuwai may have 6 evolutions due to the empty spaces in the Tempedia equaling 6, as well as the unreachable rock climbing areas in the first 2 islands, and 2 vines suspiciously being numbered as the 3rd Tuwai evolution in the Tempedia to go along with it being on the 3rd island. So 1 evolution per island, and each evolution being based on one of the island's types. What I'm specifically curious about is to whether or not we'll see a digital or electric type Tawai evolution to go along with the theme of cipanku. It'd be really interesting to say the least. Especially if it ends up being digital. I can see someone being like, oh, let me upgrade your Tawai for you, and then you getting some sort of drone or something. In terms of gameplay, I could see this island focusing heavily on Nanto Labs and what they've been up to since the technological revolution. I'm also wondering if they, as well as Bisloba, will somewhat tie into the first mythical Temtem that is confirmed to be coming with this update. The picture shown in the roadmap seems to be that of Anak Volcano, so perhaps we may need to do some backtracking. I'm also assuming that we will be recovering the crystal skates at this time, and we'll be able to sort of explore a little more of Tuwai as a result. Arbory is the 6th and final main island of the archipelago and primarily focuses on mental and melee type Temtem. It's primarily known for its universities and constant rain. This is what Crema has to say about the island. Arbory has traditionally been considered a melancholy land of constant rain, rolling green hills and endless academic quibbles. While the weather is certainly wet, the rivalry between the 2 colleges of the university is legendary. Arbory is a lot more than the cliches make of it. As the prime educational spot of the archipelago, many serious Temtem tamers come to the Victorian streets of Properton or the Gothic alleys of Lochburg to hone their skills. In Arbory, regions are a state of mind. It's only natural that the brainy dons of Properton College favor mental Temtem, some of which are reputedly so intelligent that they can hold philosophical debates with the academics. Conversely, the powerful melee-type Temtem of Southern Arbory are natural best mates with their rowdy Lochburg tamers. As for visitors, whether they prefer to contemplate the romantic shores of Lochador, hunt along the pleasant Meadowdale, or splash in the bogs of Mudshire marshes, they are always welcome to a cup of tea or a pint of stout, and a Temtem battle to boot. So first of all, the island is going to bring upon the 2nd mythical Temtem, which we don't know a whole lot about. The rivalry between the 2 schools seems to be interesting, and given that this is the same update that's going to introduce Jojo Wars, it almost seems fitting. I'm assuming we're going to learn a lot more about Professor Konstantinos on this island, and it's sort of going to prepare us for the 4 Arch Tamers, aka Temtem's Elite 4 equivalent. Having schools there seems kind of fitting. Now, this update is coming in the winter, while full launch is coming in the spring. I don't see any mention of the Arch Tamers, or in other words, Temtem's version of the Pokemon League, on the roadmap or in the island's description, so it could be here or it could be at full launch. It's hard to say. Other than this, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this island. I think we're gonna probably see the Bisloba climax here, and then maybe with the full update we'll get the full league challenge. Now, I'd be done here if it wasn't for a piece of information that Crema hit us with during the reveal of the Temtem roadmap, and that being an endgame island, a mini island specifically dedicated to endgame activities. When talking about this island, they specifically reference the battle frontier from Pokemon and say it'll be similar with somewhere from 3 to 5 facilities that focus on different ways to battle. Now, I have a whole video that I've been sitting on dedicated to the potential facilities of the 7th island, so I'm not going to go too in depth on that here because honestly it would make the whole video like 3 times as long. I have a lot to say about it, but I could see something similar to the battle tower here, maybe like a rental facility, some stuff like that. You're going to be able to use this place to grind for Pansun and items, so I really do hope that they get the scaling of Pansun per hour down, because I think that right now the game's far too grindy and it's keeping a lot of players inactive. Though I gotta be honest, I wouldn't mind making only 10 to 15k per hour if it's actually battling, because I feel like you're actually playing the game rather than the current catching and releasing, which honestly gets tiring very fast. But yeah guys, that was sort of a general breakdown of the various upcoming islands. I really hope you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe for more Temtem content. With Kisiwa coming any day, you can expect a lot more for the next little while. Anyways guys, until next time, peace.